We continue learning workbook page 64. We are now going to perform step 2 for all 5 problems shown here on this page. Here's the first one. It's the holiday season and you want to buy gifts for your friends. You've decided that each friend will receive either a large frame which costs $19 or a small frame which costs $7. You have 16 friends and $160. How many of each type of frame should you buy? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is remind us what we did in step 1. In step 1, we defined our variables as follows. L is defined as the number of large frames. S is defined as the number of small frames. Now our job is very simple. We want to write 2 equations. It's always 2 equations for a system in this section. We want to write 2 equations that describe this situation. So let's see if we can talk our way through this. So we know that we have 16 friends, and we know that each friend will get a frame. So that means we need to buy 16 frames. And there are 2 types. There are large frames and small frames. So we can say the following sentence. The number of large frames plus the number of small frames equals 16, because each friend is going to get a frame. Now, we know that the number of large frames can just be written with the algebraic letter L, and the number of small frames can be written with S. So putting this together, we get the following equation. L plus S equals 16. 1 down, 1 to go. Okay, our next equation is going to come from the money part of this problem. We know that we have $160 to spend. And we learned in a previous video that the cost of something can be written as the quantity sold or purchased multiplied by the price. Now in this problem, we've got 2 different types of frames, the small ones and the large ones. So what we know is the money spent on small frames plus the money spent on large frames equals the total amount of money spent, which is $160. So if we can just come up with the quantity sold and purchased and the price for each of these 2 things, then we'll have ourselves a solution. Okay, so first of all, money spent on small frames. We want quantity times price. So what is the quantity of small frames purchased? Well, that's this letter S. We don't know a number for that. That's what we're trying to solve for in the problem. The number of small frames is S. So for this part right here, quantity sold, I'm going to write S. Now, how about price? What's the price of a small frame? The price of a small frame is $7. So the amount of money that's spent on small frames is S times 7. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the large frames. So we need to know the quantity of large frames purchased. Well, that would be L. We need to know the price of a large frame. That would be this $19. So the amount of money we're spending on small frames is S times 7, which we can write as 7S. The amount of money we're spending on large frames is L times 19, which we can write as 19L. We are adding those together, and that gives the result $160. These are our 2 equations. This is step 2 for this problem. So we can write our system of equations just by putting both of those equations one on top of the other. This is a 0 here. Sorry, I was a little sloppy with my writing. And there we go. This is our system. In step 3, we'll actually solve this system algebraically, but for right now, all we're doing is focusing on step 2, getting really good at step 2. There's the answer to step 2 of this problem involving the holiday season and buying frames for your friends.